The San Jose Barracuda win game one versus the Ontario Reign thanks to a 2-0 shutout elimination game coming up on Saturday.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for hanging out tonight on this Barracuda postcast. Of course, Locked On Sharks, part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everyday, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or, of course, you can watch on YouTube as you are doing right now. We're going to be doing these postcasts live after every Barracuda game, as long as they keep playing playoff games. And first, ground rules. We want to keep this Barracuda-centric, right? Like, I know there'll be people itching to ask Sharks questions, but we want to keep this very Barracuda focused. So Barracuda win 2-0 in this game behind a strong third period. Yaroslav Askarov with a 16-save shutout in a game where he didn't really have to do too much. We'll get to Askarov in a little bit. But I think the story of this game for the Barracuda was them just finding a way to get this win, right? Very just ugly hockey to start this game, right? And you look at how both teams started, just very choppy, a lot of icings. I think it's almost kind of like that first round in a boxing match where even though these two teams have played each other 8 times this year, right? But you're still kind of feeling each other out. That was definitely the first period, I think, between these. But as the game went on, and right, for the Barracuda, you don't have Andrew Podorowski. Danil Gushchin, who went through warm-ups, but then was a last-minute scratch because of an illness. Thomas Bordelot. That's like 3 of your biggest scorers not in this game. The Barracuda found a way, and a lot of thanks to Luca Cagnoni, who wasn't even one of the 3 stars tonight. 2 assists tonight. I thought Cagnoni was one of, if not the best players on the ice tonight. Especially as the game went on, just driving offense. Everything he did tonight just looked easy for him, right? And we've seen that watching him on the Barracuda all season, where he just makes things so easy. Nothing flusters him. He's the moment's never too big for him, and especially in that third period, right? Luca Cagnoni came to shine in that play. I don't want to hear anybody ever say Luca Cagnoni can't play defense, because the way he breaks up that 2-on-2, like the Reign, credits, like that's a perfect play for the Reign, right? They have an opportunity, they jump on it. Luca Cagnoni just makes a better play where he's able to, he waits the last second, he spins as the pass is trying to come across, he catches it, keeps the puck from even going on net, and then pushes to Colin White. Colin White, beautiful play to Phil Beastead. Beastead crushes that one. You love that. But Cagnoni's ability to not only read the play defensively, but then push, know that he's got everybody behind him, push that play, and then get that thing going, right? And even on the first goal, Cagnoni gets an assist there on the Frisch/Regenda goal. I thought it was a Frisch goal. Apparently Regenda might have tipped it. However they score it. But both those guys, Cagnoni tonight, was absolutely dynamite. The smallest guy on the ice making the biggest impact for the San Jose Barracuda. But yeah, credit to this Barracuda team, right? You're missing your top scorers tonight between Podorowski and Danil Gushchin. And you just kind of found a way to gut out a game where things just did not go well in this game, especially to start. All right. And I felt very much in the first period where the Barracuda were just trying to do a little bit too much. And this felt like it was a rock fight type of game, right? Where it's just, you knew the goals were going to be there wasn't going to be a lot of scoring in this game. And it felt like they were just trying to do too much. And I know Drew Remenda harps on it all the time, right? Keep it simple, just get pucks to the net. When the game's going like this, you just got to get pucks to the net. And I was glad to see as the game went along, they were able to just kind of get some pucks to the net, get things going that way. But then also when you had those opportunities to make those big plays, especially that the Philip Beestead goal in the power play, you were able to take advantage of those. So if you were doing this live, so if you guys have questions, comments, whatever, we'll go through them as well. But I mean, I think that's my big takeaway. And that is a good part of, I think there's good signs for the Barracuda, right? Is if you're not playing your A game, and I feel like the Barracuda's A game, when I did my preview, I feel like if the Barracuda's A game is just better than the Ontario Reigns A game, but we know it's just the Barracuda just aren't a consistent team. But it feels good that you won a game where you were playing a B minus game, and you were able to win 2-0 against a much more consistent Ontario Reign team. So, but yeah, you got it. Yeah, huge, just credit to this team to just kind of gut out this type of win, because this is a game that we have seen the Barracuda lose how many times over the past couple of years, right? So yeah, great performance. One of the other big things I noticed in this game, just the size. I kind of tweeted about it, right? And and again, you don't have Borlo, kind of a smaller player, right? You don't have Danil Gushchin, kind of a smaller. Podorowski's not the biggest guy, but he's solid size. But just how big this Barracuda team got all of a sudden, right? Patrick Giles, big boy. Zach Ostapchuk, who I thought did not have a good game tonight. Just brutal penalties. That 4-minute penalty, he got bailed out by the team on that situation where they were able to draw a penalty to make it 4-on-4 for 2 minutes. But I don't think Ostapchuk had a very good game. I know, right? He just joined the team. They're trying to kind of figure things out, but I did not really enjoy Ostapchuk's game. Regenda, who I thought had a really big night tonight as well. I was like, this team has just gotten a lot bigger really quickly, which I think that helps you in these kind of grinded out, ugly types of performances where sometimes you just got to get on your horse, you got to forecheck, and you got to try to create and make things happen. So, but yeah, credit to Mike Greer, man. He's got a vision. He's got a vision of how he wants to play hockey. And I think this small glimpse of what you're potentially going to see with San Jose here soon, sooner rather than later. But I do want to shout out somebody, Matt Dillon. Matt Dillon. Most underrated part of this team was Sabrin's line. Forechecking really wore down the Reign. Yes, that fourth line, and I talked about it in the preview, right? That fourth line with Sabrin, Vincent, and Van Roboys. Those guys are just tough to play against. They go out with their lunch pail, right? You see Vincent. Vincent is out there stirring the pot as often as he can, trying to cause as much mayhem as possible. Same thing with Van Roboys. We know Scott Sabrin is not afraid of anybody. And you notice that line started to kind of get going a little bit, and then the rest of the team started to follow suit with them. So that line has been great for the Barracuda all season. And especially when and again, right, they can also score. That line is not just out there just to cause problems. They've also scored, and they're going to score some ugly, dirty goals, and you have to score some ugly, dirty goals in the playoffs. And I think tonight was a good indicator. If that line can continue to play the way that they played tonight, you got a really good feeling about not only this series, but the Barracuda long term. So we do have to shout out the defense, and this was kind of collective, right? The Barracuda held in a period where the Reign were trailing, right, for a good chunk, right? Regenda scored 7:21. Beestead scored 8:39. So that's 10 plus minutes where the Barracuda are leading. Ontario they finally credited them. One shot on goal. And you know why? It's because the Barracuda, they didn't turtle. They kept pushing. They kept trying to, and yes, They drew a power play, a couple power plays late, but that's because they kept pushing and trying to make it go from 2 goals to 3 goals. And that's a sign of a good team is you're not just stuck in your zone. You're trying to defend that lead 2-0, and just trying to, grind out and hang out, like just hang on for a win that we've seen the Sharks do a bajillion of times. But I was really, like continuing to push. And again, you held this Reign team one shot on goal in the third period. That is that is well done there. That's group effort, right? Hashe, who's really come along. You also, somebody shouting out at Keane. Keane has had a little bit of an up and down season this year, right? And dealt with some injuries and stuff, but I thought he played pretty well tonight. Jimmy Schultz helped shut things down as well. Ethan Frisch, the unsung hero with, creating the offense there. All the pieces really fit. Jack Thompson, I thought, had a little bit of a rough game. He had a kind of a bad power play behind the net that led to an opportunity there. But overall, I thought he played okay. If he was probably your worst defenseman, which and again, in a game where you won 2-0 and you kept the Reign to 1 shot on goal in the third period, you're definitely going to take that every day of the week. So, which I think leads to Ascarov. Ascarov, it wasn't asked to do much tonight, right? 17 saves. But when he had to make the saves, he had to make the saves. And you think I think it was the end of the second period, right? When the Reign, they do get an opportunity there. Jack Sadika, right, gets a breakaway, and he was able to get out. And yes, I know he didn't get a shot on goal, but he's out there ready to kind of attack it and stuff. And you could see just Askarov just playing the puck really well, right? Things didn't look kind of too big for him. We talked he's the X factor, right? Because if this Barracuda team can play like this tonight, where they're, especially the third period, not the first two, right? I think it was more of a feeling out process, but the Barracuda can play like that. The first, the third period, if they continue, this is gonna be a tough team to beat. You're gonna have to bring your A game, especially with the size and stuff. But I think the Barracuda really set up coming out and winning this game and doing so convincingly in the third period, really set up to hopefully kind of be great to just end this series on Saturday night, right? Where, again, it's going to be in crypto. Probably a little bit more of a home crowd feel, but I think not having that home crowd for the Reign really hurt. I think there was 1,200 people there. Poor announcer, or not the announcer, the PA guy or whoever, you felt bad for the guy because he's trying to do what he can, but it was definitely not the most raucous crowd on a Thursday night when they're playing basically an hour away from their home arena. You definitely felt for the poor guy, but gotta take advantage. I definitely expect a bigger crowd on Saturday night. Looked like there was every time they showed crowd shots, it definitely looked like a fair amount of Barracuda fans there, which we love to see. But it was love what we're seeing. So if you guys have, I'll start going through some of the questions and stuff. Very soft first period. Third period was quality though. Again, felt like kind of like two boxers kind of filling out. And they did mention, right, you've had a lot of between the Lakers and the Kings, you've had a lot of games in that venue over the past couple of days here. So I'm sure the ice quality wasn't the greatest here. Now the Kings are going to be heading up to Edmonton for game 3 here. So I'm not sure I think the Lakers are now on the road too. So hopefully by Saturday, the ice quality is just better because that you could tell they were fighting through it there. So Ryan here, Asky is so him, right? Didn't have to do much, but good to see when he doesn't, when you need him to make a save, he was able to make a save. So Matt Cagg, so much confidence on both ends. Yeah, definitely was taking over that third period there. And when you needed some offense there, Cagnoni, man. I just blind squirrel, broken clock. Every once in a while, I get one right. I feel like I got one right on Luca Cagnoni because, kid's gonna be a stud, man. Jake says, gotta finish off that series so we can get. Yes, we want some home games, man. I want to see the Reef just absolutely packed with people. So, let's see. So, if Gushchin doesn't play game 2, does Musty or Chernyshov come in? I don't know. So there is a couple of things to keep in mind here, right? Lucas Carlson, who's spouse, wife, or partner, I guess I'll just say, to kind of cover all the bases here. He's expecting the birth of his child here, so we might be getting Lucas Carlson back, who would add some more, a more dynamic piece on the blue line. If Gushchin is unable to play again, and hopefully, right, dealing with an illness, hopefully he's able to get back into the lineup. I don't know if I maybe Musty or Chernyshov. Like, if they had to pick, I would probably go Chernyshov just because he's played he's played, but it's such a small series, right? Like you can't afford to make a mistake. And yes, being up 1-0 is great, but one bad game and one unlucky game, and then the series is over and you're going home. So I wouldn't be surprised if the lines are the same with, if Gushchin's unable to play. I would assume he's probably going to play if he was this close to playing, right? If he did warm-ups and did everything and they decided to, could be some gamesmanship, but if he's kind of well enough to at least go through the motions of potentially playing, I assume he's going to be back in, right? And I think Donovan Houle was the guy who was supposed to be scratched and wasn't able to kind of get in, got in the lineup in the last second there. So, then you kind of have some actual more scoring on the on the ice there, especially with Gushchin, right? 28 goals, huge opportunity on the power play, and that just makes your power play much better. But I don't know if, especially in such a small series, if I can understand why McCarthy doesn't go with either Musty or Chernyshov, because again, small sample size. I know Musty played a couple games and Chernyshov played one, but are you going to rely on that in big moments right now? And I don't know, man. I don't know if either one of those guys is going to be available, is going to be in the lineup if Gushchin. But I just assume he's going to be back in, just because again, if he's that close to playing, he's probably close enough to potentially being healthy, right? And you look at Ascarov, who was sick last weekend, he was on the trip, but didn't even dress, right? Wasn't even out there for warm-ups or anything like that. So that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm thinking. And then if you get Bordeleau back, I know he wasn't there for game 1, but you can have Bordeleau back and down in LA in an hour, basically, if he's available. So I'm curious if he makes the trip down soon and maybe is there on Saturday. And then if you need him for Monday, you kind of feel like you have that's another piece that you could be getting back here. So, but yeah, I don't see, if you're you haven't seen enough from Chernyshov and Musty to throw him in, and especially again in such a short series. If it's a 7-game series, you have a little bit more leeway and stuff, especially if you kind of steal in game 1 here. But I was stuck listening to the Reigns broadcast. Aside from you, if you're watching on Flow Hockey, you just click over. There's a little there's a stream, and you click over and you listen to the live. Unless you're I don't know if you're down in LA playing it or whatever. But yeah, if you're watching on Flow Hockey, you can click on the stream. Anyway, Safety Dance 811 commercial was pretty rough. Tough, buddy. Tough. Ready to everyone watch the game. Flow Hockey. So yeah. Or on the high seas. So is Podorowski going to be out for sure for round 1? It sounds like it. It's still week to week. So I would assume they're probably going to be out. I would not assume. maybe, and then so the next series is best of 5. If the Barracuda, continue there, then we can maybe talk at the middle to end of that series. If you start to see him, Liz likes the plug. Send me money, Liz. But yeah, with Podorowski, I do expect him. I don't expect him in here, and with whatever lower body injury he's dealing with, I'm assuming it's a soft tissue. I don't know anything. I'm just guessing. Especially when you hear week to week with that type of things taking a while to heal. You don't want to rush that, and then all of a sudden he's not himself, and he's too important for a long run for the Barracuda. So I do feel again, you've got enough depth and you've got enough pieces, and you might be getting some pieces back here, right? Again, with Bordeleau and Gushchin and Lucas Carlson, which are 3 huge pieces for you, especially on the scoring front, that I think you can kind of survive a little bit here, potentially survive this, and then you kind of go into the next series and try to figure things out from there. And the good thing is, I think Tucson won tonight. If Tucson knocks out Abbotsford, that's huge, because Abbotsford's the one team I would not want. Just the way they play, the Barracuda just don't match up really well with them. So we're hoping for Tucson to knock out Abbotsford, because then I don't want to see Abbotsford, but then Tucson would have to go play Colorado, and you're kind of kicking the Colorado can down the road here, since Tucson's the lower seed. So that's what we're rooting for. We're rooting for Tucson to win, because again, Abbotsford just not a great matchup, and just to try to kind of extend this playoff run as long as possible. So if you guys have any more questions, let's hang out for a little bit longer before we call this bad boy. So yeah, and no ads, sorry, Locked On. This is all just for you guys hanging out and for me. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so. I'm going to say that right now. Give you a chance while I drink my soda. Subscribe. Listening. Poor Liz, she's trying, I know. But yeah, I'm how are you guys feeling it? Because remember, game 2, even though it's on the road, the Barracuda are kind of the home team, right? They get the second change, they get kind of the perks of being on the road, being at home, even though it is a technically a road game. I have a feeling there's going to be a fair amount of I think there's going to be a fair amount of Barracuda fans there for this game. So I'm excited for it. I think there'll be more than 1,200 people in the building. I don't know what the, if it's 3,000 or 4,000, but I have a feeling there's going to be a good chunk of games. So Carlos just joined. Ugly just joined. However, how was the game? Ugly first and second period. Barracuda shutting things, just going down with the just Barracuda great third period. Luca Cagnoni, pretty good at hockey. So what does second change mean? It's a good question. So when you are the road team and you have whistle, boom, 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 you're going out for a face-off. The road team has to put out their players first. The home team then gets to match. So if they, for example, put out their third line, you can be okay, I'm going to put out my third line. Or if they put out their fourth line, you can say I'm going to put it on my first line because I feel like I have an advantage there. So it gives you just a slight little advantage of you can kind of match what they're doing. So that's what second change means. If we somehow get home Cuda games, how do you think the atmosphere will be? I think that I do the Reef. When the Reef is buzzing, guys, it's going. And I think with the Barracuda team, getting home games in that first playoff game at the Reef, I do have high hopes. I do think it's going to be a good atmosphere there. I'm really hoping, if you have not gotten a chance to go to a Barracuda game, I highly recommend it. It is a blast. Not a bad seat in the house. Just they do a really good job there. The arena is beautiful. You're really close. I think the highest seats up are maybe 15 rows up. It's not a lot of rows. Yeah, it is super, super fun. So if the Barracuda do get if they go to the second round and we get get home games here, if you get a chance, highly do. So You mentioned Thompson's kind of rough. How did Graf look not being on the team for a while? Same question with it. Like, I thought Graf was Colin Graf. Him and Giles on the penalty kill. I didn't even really mention the penalty kill tonight was absolutely awesome. They've got dudes on that penalty kill. Giles and Colin Graf tonight, those guys making opportunities every chance they get. Patrick Giles, an absolute penalty kill demon. It feels like every game he gets an opportunity. But then, right, you have Regenda, who's been solid on the PK, Ethan Cardwell, who's good on the PK, Philip Beeson, who I think is really underrated on the PK. Although, the penalty kill, I think, because of the forwards, they're able to be more aggressive. And because they do have some bigger bodies there, they can kind of bully some of the defensemen and really put pressure on them. It's just a much more aggressive and better looking penalty kill than what we see with the Sharks. So, I was really impressed, especially the Reign did have 5 power play opportunities. Granted, there was a double minor that kind of got wiped out a little bit there, but still, 100% felt like, yes, the penalty kill was great. Graf continues to do Graf things. The puck always finds his stick. I think when you get a scorer like Gushchin with Graf, I think we'll see Colin Graf do well. And then if we do get Podorowski back and you finally get that Graf Podorowski Gushchin line, those guys will do great things. But I thought Colin White did a really nice job tonight, kind of filling in that 1C role. Would you want Colin White more of your 2C, 3C? 100% yes. But I thought Colin White had a really strong game tonight. Askey starting game 2, yes, especially with games days between it's Askey's net right now. You're not going to see as many the back-to-backs, and even if you have the back-to-backs, it's not like Askey's had a tough workload recently. But yeah, it's Askey's net, unless he's hurt or sick. So feed families is the words. I don't even know who we're talking about, but yes, we'll go with Luca Cagnoni. Luca Cagnoni is going to feed families, feed my family. Hopefully, I'm riding that Cagnoni train until that thing goes off the cliff, baby. B said isn't flashy, but he shows up on the score sheet more often than not. Feels like he's a true 3C upside if he stays consistent. Just wish he had a more physical game. That's true. If Bill B said you're 3C, perfect. Perfect. And I think he's I don't think he's going to be going out there just running around to kind of trying to murder people, but I think he will be physical enough. I just think his game is much more subtle, which I think kind of makes sense for him. But if you put him with if you just put him with some forechecking monster type of player, like Victor Eklund with not that the Sharks are going to draft Victor Eklund, but if you put Victor Eklund with the Philip Beested and said, just go cause chaos, guys, oh my gosh, that would be super fun. Victor Eklund with Philip Beested and then Kasper Halsonen just crushing one-timers. That would be the most fun third line in the NHL. But it's not going to happen. So power play was 1 for 6 tonight. Especially, you're also missing Podorowski, who led the AHL in scoring. You're missing Gushchin, who had 13 power play goals this season. It'll be again, you got a big power play goal to put you up 2-0. We'll take that. So you do have to keep that in mind, that you're missing your 2 top scoring forwards, and especially on the power play with how many goals that those guys scored on the power play this year. That's keep that in mind. So yes, the power play only 1 for 6, but you got a big goal when you needed it to put this game away, or at least put it kind of, I don't want to say out of reach, but put it comfortably where you wanted it to go. So power play goals, Gushchin 14, Podorowski at 13. Those are your top 2 guys in the AHL when it came to power play goals. And then Luca Cagnoni was 7th in the AHL at 11. So that's why the power play went 1 for 6 tonight. So yes. So All right. A couple more here. A stop truck being added to the CUDA makes me imagine them looking at each other like Zoolander fighting for the 3C job of the future. I could totally understand that. I said it when they traded for a stop truck. Like, Beasted's got to probably not feel super great about it, but Beasted I thought looked way better tonight than Ostapchuk. Granted, Ostapchuk just joined the team, et cetera, was also dealing with some injuries. So I'm trying to be patient with Ostapchuk. But yes, so all right. A couple more. Cags, yeah, 2 assists tonight. Yeah, didn't get a star. Luca Cagnoni robbed again. So, all right. Yes, this was fun. Let's do this again Saturday night. Hopefully, we're talking about how the Barracuda win. And then we can, start looking ahead. So, appreciate all you guys hanging out with me tonight. Super fun blast. We'll be doing this, like I said, for every Barracuda game. We'll be doing postcasts as long as they keep playing playoff games this run. We will keep doing Barracuda postcasts probably about 10 minutes after the game ends. I'll have a link for you guys all set up to go. I'll probably make the link for Saturday night. You'll be able to see it. It'll pop up. Make sure you're following along, subscribing, hit the little notifications. That way you know exactly when I go live. I already have tomorrow's episode of Locked on Sharks out, so you can go check that out. We talk about what we learned from the season and kind of where that sets us up for next week. So next week we will be diving into free agency. We got plenty of fun stuff coming along with the Sharks. We have draft profiles scheduled, getting ready to go. We're gonna be starting to hit the draft profiles hard. We're gonna be starting to hit free agency hard. So again, thank you guys for all your support. Love every one of you, especially Liz. You're the best. But yeah, make sure you follow along podcast, YouTube, social. You guys know the drill. Till Saturday night. Bye, friends.